Pitching tonight for the U.S. team will be Luke Gregerson. And here's the starting lineup for your Minnesota Twins. Byron Buxton in center field will lead off. Joe Mauer will be at first base tonight, batting second. Brian Dozier back in the lineup. He'll bat third, play second base. Miguel Sano will be at third base, batting fourth. Max Kepler bats fifth, plays right field. Byung-Ho Park will DH, bat sixth. Robbie Grossman bats seventh. He'll be in left field, batting eighth. Catching will be Jason Castro. And Jorge Polanco at shortstop, bats ninth. Pitching for the Twins tonight, right-hander Trevor May. Umpires, it'll be Marvin Hudson be calling balls and strikes. Jeff Kellogg at first base. Sam Holbrook at second base. And Ryan Brakely, the umpire, at third base. We're getting ready for action. Here's Corey Provis.
All right, Danny, thank you. Trevor May making his third spring training start. Set to see Ian Kinsler, the leadoff man for Team USA. Detroit Tigers second baseman takes a fastball down low. With that underway on a lovely evening here in Fort Myers. Twins so far 6-4-1, taking on Team USA here tonight from the CenturyLink Sports Complex. The 1-0 pitch is lifted foul. Back behind the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. Ian Kinsler coming off a solid season. A 4-time All-Star, won his first Gold Glove last year. 28 home runs, 83 knocked in. For the Tigers, primarily hitting leadoff, as he is tonight. The 1-1 is off speed, pops away from Jason Castro, misses inside, and now 2-1. Adam Jones on deck, and then Nolan Arenado. And Danny, you look at this Team USA lineup. This will be a good test here for Trevor May tonight.
Well, I think so. And you look at this lineup, though. They got Gold Glovers in there, like you talked. Kinsler last year. They got almost won the batting title last year, and just some great athletes.
Pulls a ground ball into left field, in between the shortstop and Polanco and Sano for a leadoff single. So Kinsler is on. Stole 14 bases last year. So leadoff single for Adam Jones. One of 5 on the current Team USA roster that were also on the roster back in 2013, the last time the competition took place. Adam Jones, 29 home runs last year, knocked in 83. He's hit at least 20, 6 straight years. Twins tonight, the red tops, white pants, red cap, blue bill. Here comes on Jones, lifted to right shallow. That's going to drop for a base hit. Kinsler holds at second base as Kepler gets it back in. So Kinsler and Jones back-to-back singles. And now Nolan Arenado has led the National League in home runs and RBIs the last 2 years. A year ago with the Rockies, 41 homers. He knocked in 133 runs for Colorado. Arenado, in fact, is the first player since Mike Schmidt to lead the National League in home runs and RBIs in back-to-back seasons. Mike Schmidt did so, Hall of Famer, back in the early 1980s. As May runs a fastball inside, ball 1. Trevor so far this spring, 4 innings. He's allowed 1 run on 2 hits. He has struck out 3 and walked 2. And for the second straight camp, he is fighting for a spot in the rotation to start the year. Kinsler at second, Jones at first, 2 on, nobody out. And the 1-0 pitch, foul back. And a fastball to Arenado. At 92 miles per hour, it's even.
And Arenado, you look at some of those gaudy numbers and you think, okay, Colorado, Coors Field, inflated a little bit. Not the case. This guy's good. Everybody raves about this guy. Not only you talk about his offense, you got to like his defense as well.
He's won 2 Gold Gloves.
All-around player.
Third baseman with the Rockies, batting in the number 3 spot tonight for Jim Leland. And the 1-1 in the dirt, pops away from Castro, and the runners move up. That'll be a wild pitch charged to Trevor May, and that was an issue for Trevor last year, an alarming 10 wild pitches unleashed by May last season.
You know, and again, you always hear me talk about it. You can't always blame it on the catcher. You have to anticipate it, but sometimes with a sinker ball pitcher, and he's got that hard breaking ball, and I think he's the one that was on the mound in Kansas City when the Twins lost a ball game on a walk-off wild pitch like that.
Infield will play back with nobody out, and May behind Arenado. 2 balls and 1 strike. Eric Hosmer, speaking of the Royals, he's on deck. May off the first base side from the stretch, and the pitch is lifted foul. He challenged Arenado that time. A fastball at 94, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
And just watching Arenado after that swing there, he knows he got a pitch to handle just a little bit tardy on it.
Now, velocity is something to watch with Trevor May, Danny, as a relief pitcher. The last 2 seasons, you would see mid to upper 90s. He could kind of wait and unleash full max effort, knowing that he was going to go about an inning. He has to dial it down somewhat, though, to be a starter. And now the 2-2, a drive to left and deep. This is back towards the berm. It's up, and that ball is going to be off the wall. 2 runs will score. Arenado to second base. There might be a play. Nope, he's in standing. And Team USA leads 3 batters in, 2-0.
You look at the swing here. He tried to get something in on him, and Arenado, boy, he quickly got his hands inside and still was able to get the bat head out in front.
And Kinsler scored. Then maybe 2 steps behind him was Jones. So 3 batters in, 2-0 Team USA. Still nobody out for Eric Hosmer. Career highs in home runs and RBIs last year. Was the All-Star Game MVP. 25 home runs last year as he bangs one foul. Team USA, they're coming out swinging.
Yeah, they are.
Now, this will mark the 4th World Baseball Classic. It began in 2006, and Team USA has never finished better than 4th. 10-10 all time. They have never been to the finals. Japan won the first 2 World Baseball Classics. The Dominican team won the last one back in 2013. And May's 0-1 pitch is chopped in the ground right side near Mauer first. He'll glove it, take it to the base unassisted for the out. Arenado takes third. So 1 out, 2-0 Team USA. Here comes Buster Posey of the Giants. Former MVP, former Rookie of the Year, won a Gold Glove last year and a 4-time All-Star. As Danny mentioned, this Team USA lineup, and there are some notable names missing. We'll dive into that as we kind of move along here tonight. Still, those that are still on the team and here representing Team USA. As Posey takes a breaking ball low, nicely stopped that time by Castro to his right. 18 All-Stars, 9 Gold Glove winners, 3 Rookies of the Year, 2 former MVPs. Not to mention, Danny, a veteran coaching staff, guys you know awfully well.
Jim Leyland, you look at it stacked with Detroit Tiger former players and coaches, and Trammell and Tom Brookins over there.
Yeah, the 1-1, good pitch at the knees for a strike call. The fastball on Posey.
Jeff Jones, pitching coach for the Tigers, and Jim Leyland a long time. So, yeah, not only you look at the impressive players out on the field, but the coaching staff also in the dugout. And Leland's probably perfect for it because he's a guy that, hey, guys, here's the ball. He's got very few rules.
1-1 is down low. Ball 2 may just miss that time.
You know, they had a workout yesterday over at JetBlue Park, the Red Sox over on the East Coast. And Jack Morris went over there to watch him work out and interview a couple of the players. And he said these guys were getting at it. The practice that he saw, he said they did a power infield drill that you don't see that too often. But these guys are all professionals, and I just like the fact that they're responding to Jim Leyland and the coaching staff.
Arenado at third base, 1 out. The 2-1 pitch is chopped to short. Arenado will hold at third base. Polanco freezes the runner and throws out. Posey, a low throw, and dug out by Mauer. We've seen Polanco short hop a few of those throws so far, Danny, early here in the Grapefruit League.
You know, he's got to get up on it a little bit more. He kind of has a tendency to sidearm it a little bit, and that's got some tail to it. A little bit of sink, but I thought Arenado took off right away and then held. And again, low throw, nice pick by Mauer at first base.
So 2 down for Giancarlo Stanton. We were watching this guy put on a show during BP tonight. Did not disappoint. As a strike is called on the sluggy right fielder with the Miami Marlins, 3-time All-Star. Moved past 200 career home runs last year. Overall, 27 homers, 74 knocked in for Stanton, now 27 years old. 2-0 Team USA, 2 outs in the opening inning. The 0-1 swing and a miss. Good movement on that fastball from May, running back inside at 93. 0-2 on Stanton.
A little bit of a tardy swing right there. He got a late start on that swing, but see what he features here. He's got him. No balls and 2 strikes. See if he tries to bounce something or come right back inside on him.
Castro sets up over the heart of the plate. Now works a bit inside. He wants it up. It is up, and Stanton swings and misses on a fastball at 93. Castro painted the target, and May hit his spot, and Stanton is gone. So is Team USA. Still, Team USA scores 2 runs on 3 hits. They lead 1. We played 1 half in Fort Myers. Team USA 2. Twins coming up. Back to Fort Myers, 2-0 Team USA. Byron Buxton, Joe Mauer, Brian Dozier due up. In his home half of the first inning for the Twins. Buxton so far 4-15 down here. A brilliant close to the 2016 season for the 23-year-old center fielder. Hopefully that will be the catalyst to many great things here in 2017. Righty against righty, and it's a swing and a miss, sinker slider. Pitch mix from Luke Gregerson. Began last year as the closer with Houston, saved 15, had some struggles though, and then became the setup man for Ken Giles. Gregerson, 32 years old, and the 0-1 pitch is down low. And a breaking ball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Joe Mauer on deck. Gregerson off the first base side. And here's the 1-1. Off speed is down low. And now the count moves to 2-1. Mentioned in the top half of the first inning, there are 5 members of Team USA that were part of Team USA in 2013. Gregerson in that conversation, in that group, but the only pitcher that's on the team the second straight time. Buxton pops it up. He got jammed. Infield right side. Ian Kinsler makes the call and the squeeze near his left shoulder. Buxton is out, number 1. Speaking of that 2013 WBC, the guy batting right now was part of that. Joe Mauer batting in the number 2 spot here tonight. Joe was on that 2013 team. Glenn Perkins, Ryan Vogelsong, who is scheduled to pitch here tonight for the Twins and also scheduled to join us. So we kind of move along. Mauer so far 1 for 5 here in the spring. Gregerson off the first base side. Here's the pitch on Joe. It's in the dirt, ball 1. I was asking Joe during BP tonight how many times he wore Team USA on a baseball jersey throughout his amateur and then professional career. He told me 5 different occasions he has put on Team USA colors. 3 times it was 18 and under. And here's the 1-0 pitch, and that's at the knees. A sinker for a strike called on Joe. The 4th occasion was in 2003. Joe was part of Team USA trying to qualify for the 04 Athens Summer Games. And that team did not qualify for the baseball tournament in 04. Joe was part of that team in 03. Strike called on Joe 1-2, and the most recent occasion was the World Baseball Classic back in 2013.
Corey, I'm reading up, and they're talking also about the Olympics are being introduced back into the Olympics, and I guess our baseball is, and they don't feel that any professional or major league players will be able to play on it.
Chop to the right side again. Kinsler backing up from the lip of the grass and shallow right. Throws out Joe for out number 2. We're going to talk much more about that as we kind of move along tonight. Brian Dozier, who's going to bat right now and also scheduled to join us. I'm going to bring up that subject with him as Brian will join us from the Twins dugout when he's done playing tonight. But speaking of Team USA, Brian, he wanted to be a part of this team. And he understands that second base amongst Americans is an awfully difficult and deep position, but you can make a compelling case that Brian Dozier deserves to be on the team. As he steps in from the right side, takes down low, ball 1. But he had some conversations early with Jim Leland and Joe Torre about joining this team. But Ian Kinsler certainly deserves to be there. Daniel Murphy deserves to be there. You can't doubt those guys. It's a good team. And the 1-0 pitch, breaking ball, slider strike called on Brian, 1-1.
Well, we talk about it all the time, and you go back to the All-Star game, there's always guys that are slided a little bit left off that probably were deserving, and some guys that are on the All-Star game maybe weren't deserving. But yeah, I think you got a good argument for Dozier could be on this team. 1-1
is pop foul. 42 home runs, 99 knocked in. He scored over 100 runs last year. Terrific defensive player.
And he falls into the category of, we talk about all the guys that have the gold gloves out here. Brian has not won one yet, but he plays like a gold glover.
2-0 Team USA, bottom 1. Paul Molitor is scheduled to join us in the next half inning. And here's the 1-2 in the dirt. And Posey doesn't know where it is. He knocked it down in front of him. And now it's 2-2. The defensive alignment for Team USA, awfully talented. Andrew McCutcheon in left and Adam Jones in center. Giancarlo Stanton in right. Eric Hosmer at first, Ian Kinsler at second. Brandon Crawford will occupy short. Nolan Arenado at third base. The DH tonight is the aforementioned Daniel Murphy from the Washington Nationals. 2-0 Team USA, 2 outs. Bases empty, 2-2 on Dozier. And here it comes in the dirt, ball 3. Miguel Sano on deck if this inning would prolong.
Corey, this time of the game, you usually kind of describe the uniforms these guys are wearing. I'm looking forward to seeing you describe the USA team and their uniforms here tonight.
All right. 3 balls and 2 strikes on the Twins' second baseman. And the pitch, breaking ball, got him looking. And Dozier knew it. A slider from Gregerson. He works a 1-2-3. First inning, and after 1. Team USA 2, Twins 0. On your home for Twins baseball. 2-0 Team USA after one. Lower third coming up. Team USA half of the second. Daniel Murphy, Andrew McCutchen, Brandon Crawford. Trevor May, 19 pitches his first inning as Murphy swings and slices one foul that'll land. And the Twins bullpen that pops directly out on the left field side. 0-1 on the slugging Washington Nationals second baseman, DHing tonight. 25 homers, 104 knocked in. For Murphy last year, finished second to the Cubs' Chris Bryant. The National League MVP balloting last year. And the 0-1 is down and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. I think of Murphy, Danny, not just what he did last year, monster numbers, but go back to the 2015 postseason as a New York Met and the show he put on during that amazing run to the pennant. And the 1-1, a drive in the air. This is deep into left center field. Buxton, though, with a play back to his right. He'll squeeze it. And there is out number 1.
You know, you talk about Murphy, and he was a quality player and best suited for second base, but the numbers he put up last year were just gaudy. And yes, you talk about certain guys that when they get in the playoffs, they bring a little something extra, and he carried that club. Boy, did he.
Nice hand for Andrew McCutchen. Will be the right fielder. The Pittsburgh Pirates this season. That's a change. McCutchen won a Gold Glove in center a couple years back, but he's going to be the everyday right fielder for Pittsburgh as May pumps in a fastball strike call on the right-handed batting outfielder. 95 on the radar gun from May. McCutchen's numbers really across the board did drop last year. Still hit 24 home runs. And the 0-1 pitch is a strike 2 call. We just saw Pittsburgh not too long ago. It's going to be a good team and a good outfield with Polanco at left, and they believe that they'll be better defensively with Starling Marte in center. And moving McCutchen over to right.
Yeah, they got an ace-2 in Cole, but he's going to be playing left field for this team here. So he's getting his work in and playing the corner positions, but premier player, and I don't think he's slowed down a little bit. I just feel he's playing over there in right field, a little bit less wear and tear, and keep him a little bit stronger during the course of the season.
2 strikes on McCutchen, 1 out. And Team USA top half of the second, and May's 1-2 pitch is high. Trevor May, 44 games last year, all out of the bullpen. And the 2-2 breaking ball. McCutchen jammed. He pops it up foul, twisting out of play right side. 2-2. I was looking up some numbers on May, Danny, before the game tonight. And just breaking down his career as a starter compared to how he's fared as a reliever. And he's had more big league time out of the bullpen. 25 games as a starter, and ERA doesn't tell the whole story. We know that. But his ERA as a starter, mid-5s. And the 2-2 pitch is high and tight, ball 3. As a reliever, drops about a run less, the low 4s with Trevor as a reliever. His strikeouts also are up out of the bullpen compared to his strikeouts per 9 as a starter.
I think a lot of it has to do with what we talked about earlier. He can come out and he can max effort at every pitch. Now that he's looking to go about 7 innings.
Fastball just missed. Tried the outside corner, did not get the call. McCutchen did. It's a walk. First one May is issued here tonight. So McCutchen is on, 1 out. Want to bring up Brandon Crawford, the Giants' talented Gold Glove winning shortstop. Well, the Twins open the 2017 regular season at Target Field on Monday, April 3rd against Kansas City. And the first 30,000 fans will receive a Twins long sleeve hooded tee. That is courtesy of your local Northland Ford dealers. Go to twinsbaseball.com to get your tickets for one of the best days in all of sports. Opening day, Monday, April 3rd at beautiful Target Field. 2-0 Team USA. McCutchen at first, 1 out for Crawford as he looks at a fastball at the knees, strike call. Crawford 12 homers, 84 knocked in last year with the Giants. A 2-time World Series champion. First Giants player to win back-to-back Gold Gloves. At shorts, it's Omar Vizquel. And the 0-1 in the dirt, nicely scooped and saved by Castro. That wasn't routine. Off speed for May. Castro down to his right, able to snag it cleanly. And it's even on Crawford.
Well, just watch it, May. He's thrown some good fastballs and good location on him. The velocity looks like it's there. It's his secondary pitches. The breaking ball, he's left up a little bit, and right there, something off speed, down and in.
It's a double play depth. McCutchen leads. About a 3-step lead off the base. He stays the 1-1. There's a better breaking ball, and Crawford fooled. A swing and a miss, 1-2.
Well, I like the fact that Castro asked for it back-to-back pitches, and sometimes, that's a field pitch, and if you don't get it the first time, okay, this is spring training here. Let's go ahead and throw it again. And got some help there from Crawford.
Two 2-0 Team USA. American team batting in the top half of the second. McCutchen at first, 1 out, and Mays 1-2 off speed, popped up. Back of short, Polanco out, Grossman in. Robbie will call and catch, 2 hands securely in left field. Curveball that time from May, and Crawford pops out. So now second time through, Ian Kinsler single to left and scored on Arenado's 2-run double back in the opening inning. Ian Kinsler, 34 years old. He is set to be a free agent at season's end. His first Gold Glove last year. May from the stretch. And here's the pitch. Castro set up at the outside corner, and he tried that spot, just missed off the plate, ball 1.
Not only Gold Glove, but they also said that Ian Kinsler kind of grew into somewhat of a leader with the Detroit Tigers in that clubhouse, and you need that. Solid defender. 153 ball games, so he's a guy you can pencil in every day.
Now the 1-0 pitch is high, ball 2, and it just seemed like he was always on base against the Twins last year. He had 8 leadoff home runs. Twice has produced 30 homer and 30 stolen base seasons.
You remember when he got traded from Texas to Detroit, he was not happy about that initial trade.
He's 2-0, swing and a miss. He challenged Kinsler that time, and Trevor beat him with the fastball. That was the Prince Fielder swap a couple years back. Adam Jones would bat next if this inning prolongs. Mays 2-1, swing and a miss. That fastball's got some more life. Second time through now, 92 on the radar gun, 2-2 on Kinsler. That's sort of my point. You know, going back to what we touched on there in the first inning, Trevor May as a reliever, he'd be 96, 95, 96, but maybe more steady, Danny, as a starter, 92, 93.
And I think he's trying to get a little movement on it, too, a little sink on it by taking just a little bit off, a little more pressure on one finger. But the fact that he hit that spot, tough pitch right there, down and away.
A 6'5", 240. His last start was back in the 2015 season, made 16 that year, appeared in 48 games overall. 2 outs, McCutchen leads at first, and the 2-2 pitch, a fly ball into right, routine for Kepler, back a step, now in 1, he'll squeeze it, inning over. And Trevor May comes back, working a scoreless second as Team USA leads 1 to the home second. In Fort Myers, 2-0 Team USA on your home for sports baseball. 2-0 Team USA. Twins will bat bottom half of the second. Miguel Sano, Max Kepler, and Byung-Ho Park due up. Pitching change for Team USA. Left-hander Andrew Miller, dominant arm with the Cleveland Indians, is on to work now for Team USA. Corey and Danny back upstairs, and we're joined now by Twins manager and Baseball Hall of Famer Paul Molitor. Our first chance to officially chat Paul here in the spring, and thanks for the time.
Hey, good to be with you.
Great to be with you as always as Miguel Sano steps in. Miguel 3 for 16 so far with a home run as Miller pumps in a fastball strike call. Before we get to Twins business, Team USA, how often did you wear a Team USA uniform throughout your career?
Just one time. As a 19-year-old kid, I played for the USA. We went down to Columbia and played in, I think it was Columbia's 450th anniversary, and then went to the Intercontinental Cup games up in Montreal. But I'll tell you, it's a special deal, and anybody who has that opportunity, they'll never forget it.
Sliders swing and a miss. So there is something about that. The first time you put it on and you see the American flag or you see USA, it does resonate with that player.
Yeah, you get that goosebump feeling. You know, it's something that.
Fastball strike 3 called on Sano, and Miller can do that with the best of them in the game.
You know, once in a while I see a pitcher on the mound and I kind of miss hitting, but not so much with this guy.
He's something else. And how about the way it was used, and he was used, and not just him, but the way that the 2016 postseason played out with how both managers, how Terry Francona and Joe Madden and others kind of used their bullpens in the postseason last year, Paul.
It's part of the evolving of the game. You know, I think it was the first time we didn't see a starter go more than 6 innings in a World Series, and it's guys like Miller that give managers that kind of flexibility. It's changed some of the philosophy about getting big outs throughout the course of the game, not necessarily the last 3 or the last 6. Sometimes the game might be decided in the 5th or 6th inning, and both those guys, Madden and of course Francona, they did it very well.
And the 2-0 pitch. Kepler crushes one to deep right center field. Stanton back. It's over his head and off the wall. Max will dig into second base standing with a line drive double. Favorable count, and he did not miss his pitch as Kepler doubles for the 3rd time here this spring. And the Twins have their first hit tonight against Team USA.
Paul, can you learn a lot from facing a team like this here tonight, knowing and kind of getting a gauge where your players are right now in spring training?
Yeah, you know, Danny, it's still relatively early. I think we got 25 games or whatever or more to go. So, you know, these guys are trying to get ready, but I would think the juices flow a little bit. You know, for a guy like Trevor May facing a lineup like this, it's certainly all-star caliber. And, I suppose you get a little bit of a feel, but at the same time, I don't want to put too much stake in it.
Breaking ball down low on Byung-Ho Park. He's homered twice so far in the spring. 2-0 Team USA. Kepler at second base with 1 out in the second. Miller misses high a fastball. Paul, there have been now, I think, just over 10 games down here. Are you seeing any separation with the various position battles that are taking place in camp?
I'm trying not. I got the blinders on a little bit. I've been focusing on, trying to get exposure for everybody, at least to some degree. Some of the younger kids first time in camp, maybe not so much. But, you start to formulate opinions to some degree. But as far as we have to go here, and, the competition still is alive and well. So we're watching. But, guys, some of the guys at the top end have, 15, 16, 17 at-bats. Innings pitched for pitchers not so high. So we'll let it build. Competition's going to get better as the spring goes on, and we'll see how guys continue to do.
Slider misses low on Park. Good count here for Byung-Ho. 3-1. Kepler at second base with 1 out. Twins are batting down by 2, and the pitch is low and inside, ball 4. So a double from Kepler. Now a walk to Park. And the Twins have 2 on. I'm going to bring up Robbie Grossman, who led the Twins last year in on base percentage. 385, 386 for the switch hitting outfielder Robbie Grossman.
Paul, we talked a little bit in the offseason, and then this year the emphasis I thought was going to be on the defense. Are you seeing that, the work ethic from these guys right now, trying to clean it up defensively?
Well, Danny, our Jeff Pickler has come in and done a lot of good things with our outfielders. I think potentially we have a really good group out there to help defend and help our pitching staff. The infield, obviously, with Joe and Brian on the right side. We're trying to polish up the left side a little bit. Miguel getting acclimated back to third on a regular basis. And, of course, Polanco trying to shore up some of the things that have surfaced here through the first couple of weeks of games. But yeah, overall, I think they've gotten the message. We're putting a lot of time in on our defensive side of the game. You can break down analytics of trying to explain what happened last year, but the two that jump out are pitching numbers and defensive numbers. And so we had to address that.
Strike called on Robbie Grossman. 2 balls and 1 strike. Twins batting in the second, trailing 2-0. You've been asked, Paul, almost daily about your lineup, how it's going to play out. Do you honestly go back and forth with who's going to bat leadoff, who's going to bat second, and as you kind of move along there? It's an ongoing discussion. Fastball just painted the outside corner.
I'm taking input from my staff, and I'm certainly watching. I talk to the players involved, especially the guys that have some tenure. But we have combinations up there, facing left, right, with Brian being somewhat flexible, and Joe can hit in multiple spots.
2-2 is Sky to right, shallow. Stanton to his left, near the line. He's got room. He'll make the play. Tagging from second base is Kepler. He will make third standing. So Grossman flies out to right. Kepler now at third, Park still at first base, and it's going to be up to Jason Castro.
Pitching change.
And that is indeed going to be the case. And Jim Leyland is out. He is going to make a pitching change. We're going to keep it here. And while we continue chatting with Paul Molitor, we thank him for his time.
Just to follow up on that lineup stuff, it's certainly important. I'm going to probably try some combinations here as we get into the mid portion of the camp, and then as we get down to the end, I'll probably start trying to figure out how I want to go to start the season. I can't tell you exactly which way I'm leaning. I know guys like to hit in certain places, but we're going to try to figure out the best combinations to give us a chance to win. That's a top priority, regardless of other circumstances with each of these guys.
So it's inaccurate to say right now, even though he had success in doing this last year, but Brian Dozier is not locked in as your leadoff hitter as you look at it right now for 2017?
Well, I know he likes to hit there, and, we obviously saw what he did last year, and it's just overall, when you try to figure out the best way to score runs consistently day in and day out, we're taking a good look at Byron to see where he's at, if some of the things are carrying over, to give us a chance to get him out of the bottom third and find a way up somewhere near the top to use his skill set. And but yeah, Brian's, I don't know if I'd call it a fallback to the leadoff spot, but I know he can do it, and I know he's effective. He's a great ambush hitter. He certainly knows how to run the bases. On base kind of spiked up last year from 2 years previous, and but yeah, where he's going to end up first, second, third, fourth on a given day, we're just going to have to see.
New pitcher for Team USA is left-hander Jake McGee of the Colorado Rockies. Twins fans might recall him from being a Tampa Bay Raid. Talented left-handed arm, strikeout weapon when healthy. So he is the new pitcher now for Team USA. I'm glad you brought up Buxton. What you saw from him in September, did that stay with you as you kind of went through the offseason, process to see where he would best fit in 2017?
Well, we're all hoping that some of those things that he gained, not only in the performance, but the confidence factor has a way of carrying over. I think we all have been pleased with this camp. He's cut down the chase with the swings. There's been a couple, but for the most part, he's keeping the ball in the zone. He's got the barrel on the ball fairly consistently. And, he's just a threat. He can hit over the fence. He can steal a base. He can bunt. There's so much that makes him a weapon at the top of the lineup. But, I think he wants that challenge, but we're going to have to see how it goes here over the next 3 weeks.
Strike called on Jason Castro. Lefty against lefty here in the Twins half of the second, trailing 2-0. Jake McGee off the third base side. Kepler at third base. Park at first, 2 outs. McGee from the stretch and comes home 0-1. Fastball down low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Paul, with what you just said there, kids, sometimes we get fooled by what happens and how people perform in spring training and thinking that, okay, let's take it into the season now, and all of a sudden it's not there.
Well, Danny, I think that's a question you know the answer to, and it's an obvious yes. I mean, there's a lot of times for a lot of different reasons that, it sometimes can trick you a little bit, but when you have competition and sometimes you have to include it in the mix as far as how they're performing in a given spring. But a lot of times it's more factors than that, because we all know that sometimes things just don't carry over for certain people.
2 balls and 1 strike on Castro, 2 outs, and the pitch is tapped foul. Got a piece of Posey behind the plate and the umpire. And now it's 2-2 on the left-handed batting Twins catcher.
Paul, what can you tell us of Castro's batting right now? Are you more impressed now with what we've heard about his defense behind the plate? Are you seeing that in the games that he's been in so far?
Yeah, he's done a nice job. You know, I think all those factors that we heard about, you know, the framing and the pitch calling and taking accountability for the pitching staff are things that he is really challenged by. And I'm hoping that, you know, there's more offense than we've seen the last couple of years. You know, he had a really good offensive year 3 years ago. He's kind of tailed off a little bit, but you know, he can hit it over the fence. He can take a good at-bat. So, you know, we're looking for help on both sides of the ball.
2-2 is driven foul. Good pass on that. Jake McGee fastball at 95. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Let me put Park in motion here just a second.
Go ahead.
Oh, come on.
2-2 the count on Castro. If he can extend this inning, Jorge Polanco, batting 9th here tonight, will hit next. McGee ready, as is Castro, and the 2-2 foul back. Stays even on Jason. 2-2, a breaking ball that time for McGee.
Well, part of the offense attack of this year was the guys that can run. Are you going to try to incorporate that a little bit more with some of these guys, or maybe try to encourage these guys to try to run a little bit?
We've tried to put an emphasis on the base running, including guys that can run and take 90 feet. You know, I like that Rowson's come in, and he kind of jokes that he's the offensive coordinator, not just the hitting coach, because we think bunting and base running and hitting all kind of work together. And you know, if we could find a way to take advantage of some guys that can run and do those things, we've been preaching it. We want these guys to go ahead and take some chances here in spring training. Balls in the dirt, first to third, tagging up, certainly stealing bases for guys that are capable. But, you know, it's a part of the game that doesn't necessarily go into a slump. If you want to have, you know, we love hitting it over the fence, and we did it pretty effectively last year. But, you know, those other parts of the game can win you those close ball games. Base running can be a separator, a lot of those one-run ball games.
And again, the 2-2, breaking ball, low ball 3. Nice at bat here from Jason Castro. That'll run the count full 3-2. Park will be moving from first base here. Hosmer's going to play off the bag a bit more with 2 outs. Team USA scored 2 in the first inning on a 2-run double from Nolan Arenado. Trevor May came back with a scoreless second. Kepler doubled. Park walked. Kepler now at third. Park still at first. 2 outs. And the 3-2 pitch. Ground ball right side and through, base hit right field. Kepler scores. Park to third. And Castro delivers. Got a fastball at 95 and drove it right in between Hosmer and Kinsler into right field. And the Twins trail by 1. It's a 2-1 game.
Nice at bat.
You know, Castro lifetime throughout his career, Paul, is hitting about 190 against left-handed pitching. Do you foresee a platoon with Jason? How do you kind of see that, you know, playing out regardless who his backup is going to be?
Well, we talk about, you know, with a healthy season of him catching, you know, somewhere in the 120 game range. And, you know, there'll be a day when he has to play lefty. Sometimes we get him back-to-back or, you know, 3 and a 4 game series, some of these clubs. But, you know, I think it'll be a good chance to use our other guy in those situations for the most part. Not to saying that he won't play occasionally against some left-handers.
Here's Polanco batting, switch hitting shortstop, takes ball 1. Is there a certain attribute you're seeking more than others right now regarding that backup catcher? And the 1-0 pitch is fouled back.
Yeah, you know, there's different molds that fit that role. Sometimes it's a high defensive end guy, and sometimes it's a guy that can maybe go, you know, 2 for 12, but he's got a 3-run homer and a 2-run single. They find a way to produce runs, even maybe not with high averages. And then you got the guy that can handle the bat and move runners and bunt and do some of those things. So I'm just looking for the best guy. You know, I like the combination of some of those things. I'd certainly want a good defender, but you know, experience. We got, you know, Jimenez in the mix and Murphy in the mix, and you know, Garver a little bit more of a long shot. But it's fun to watch these guys compete.
Jorge Polanco sends one foul. Polanco last year at 309 against left-handed pitching.
Oh, the other thing I think, Paul, what a big tough decision is going to be your bench, and how do you want to build your bench? You talk about that backup catcher. What are you looking for from that guy? But also, I would think your bench players.
Yeah, you know, I'm thinking a lot about that because when you only have 4 people, you try to think through as many situations in terms of defensive replacements, pinch runners, pinch hitters, maybe some guy with a pop hit over the fence. So, we're trying to find a way to shape that the best we can. We have some guys that's, out of options. We got some guys that are trying to get established up here. But to me, there's a lot of people that are in the mix for those 4 spots.
Looks to send foul off Polanco's bat, stays 1-2. Is there noticeably more competition for bench spots, regardless of the position this year than last year?
I believe that there is. I mean, some of it are guys that have come in on invites. Some of it, we brought in people like Paulson and Stubbs and Haig, but you throw in guys like, Santana, Escobar, of course, Grossman, backup catcher. Some of the young guys have impressed us. Granite, Tommy Field, Adrianza. There's a lot of guys that we're trying to get as good a look at as we possibly can so we can make a good decision.
Fastball inside at 95 near Polanco's knees. Now 2-2. Park at third. Castro at first. 2-1 Team USA in the bottom half of the second. He kind of spins that ball in his left hand. Now comes home. The 2-2 foul back, and that's going to find the Twins dugout. Everybody okay down there?
There's a classic ugly finder right there. This is what Polanco can do. He can put together good at bats. You're not always going to finish him, but making a guy work, falling off some tough pitches.
And we saw that last year. A guy that has a good eye at the plate, doesn't chase too often. As McGee holds high, still 2-2, 2 outs, and the pitch. Line to short, on a bounce, and now it's going to be off the glove of the third baseman Arenado. Everybody's safe, and a run scores. Arenado to his left could not spear that sinking line drive in the hole at short, and that scores Byung-Ho Park. Jason Castro to second, and the game is tied 2-2, and that's going to lead to another pitching change here from Jim Leland. So Jake McGee will leave, and keep chatting here with Paul Mahler. Is that okay for as this inning prolongs? It's been good luck so far.
You guys picked a heck of a half inning here.
A lot of action. Hey, a question that Danny and I have received a lot of so far is with Derek Falvey and Thad Levine now running the show in the baseball operations department. What's different now from past years? You could probably offer perspective that we can't. Are things drastically different in how things go and things are happening, whether it's downstairs in the clubhouse or even up here?
I think drastically is an exaggeration. These guys have their own way of thinking about things, but they've treaded carefully in terms of trying to come in and overhaul everything. They like a lot of things about what we do. I'm still kind of in the getting to know process. So, obviously spent a lot of time with those guys throughout the winter. It's been positive. I always have to interject that, Terry and I had a long history, and it's a relationship that I'll miss in terms of the baseball aspect. But these guys they've been great. Derek obviously has focused a lot of his energy on pitching development, and he's had some great ideas. And, we just asked our staff and people in our organization to be open-minded about some of the things that they are trying to interject. We've had a lot of conversations. They like to be down in the clubhouse. We talked before the day. The big thing is they're trying to find ways to increase our resources, whether it's around analytics, whether it's around, being additive in terms of number of staff in various departments, just trying to find ways to give us a better chance. But, for me, I haven't changed a lot about what I do. I think that we're despite last year, we have a lot of confidence in a lot of things that we try to implement, but I have nothing but good things to say about how they've handled the transition and what they've done so far coming into our organization.
New pitcher for the Twins is minor league pitcher, I should say, for Team USA, but he's in the Twin system. Right-hander DJ Baxendale. Twins have provided Team USA with several arms here tonight, and Baxendale not the last Twin we'll see pitch against the big league club, if you will, and Byron Buxton swings and misses, nothing in one. Is that right, Paul? You have a lot of Twins guys that you're loaning to Team USA tonight. Well,
it's not a perfect setup given the fact that they have to play 3 games consecutively, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. They're not going to burn through a ton of pitching. So we're trying to supplement. Joe Torre and Jim Leland asked us to have some people available, which we were happy to do. as long as we didn't put people at risk. And, you know, it's just kind of the way things work out given the scheduling and how quickly these guys have to prepare for important games.
Baxendale last year split the season with AA and AAA as Buxton takes outside ball 2. DJ 6'2", 210, 10th round pick back in 2012. Did make 14 starts with Chattanooga last year, but then 23 appearances out of the bullpen for AAA Rochester. 2 balls and 1 strike on Buxton. Game tied at 2 in the second as Byron swings and misses. Big cut. 2-2. And speaking of AAA, the manager for the Rochester Red Wings, Mike Quade, was involved in a scary car accident. I believe, Paul, it was last week. How's he feeling?
Well, he had to return to Minneapolis to have his shoulder surgically repaired. He had a fairly significant tear. He is flying back here tonight. He's going to be limited in what he can do as far as physicality, but you know, his eyes will be on things going on down here so he can prepare. But yeah, it was a scary deal. Got rear-ended at a pretty high speed, and you know, I think feels pretty fortunate that they come away with, you know, the surgery's no fun, but it could have been a lot worse.
Traveling time for the runners. They go to 3-2 Buxton. Skies one to center. Playable for Adam Jones. As he jogs in a few steps, he will squeeze it to end the inning. And with that, we thank Paul Molitor for his time. Paul, thanks as always.
All right, you guys are done with me.
All right, Paul Molitor, good job on the mic there tonight. Twins scored 2 runs. Both of the runs charged, by the way, to Andrew Miller. On 3 hits, the Twins do strand 2. And after 2, it now reads Twins 2, Team USA 2. On your home for Twins baseball.
Minnesota Twins.
For exclusive videos, photos, and more, log
Game tied 2-2. RBIs from Castro and Polanco. And the Twins have the second, and this game is all square now. 2-2. It'll be Adam Jones, Nolan Arenado, and Eric Hosmer due up for Team USA. Trevor May. So far, 2 runs, 3 hits, a strikeout, and a walk. As Jones steps in, he's singled to right and scored an Arenado's 2-run double back in the opening inning. And here comes May, and a breaking ball is a strike called 0-1. We thank Paul Molitor for his time, and now we're joined by another special guest, one of our favorites. We welcome back Captain Ryan Cain from Southern Instinct Charters. Great time of year to be on the water during the daytime, even some nighttime cruises. I know Captain Cain are always popular, but great to see you again. Welcome back.
How'd you find out about the nighttime cruises?
Oh, we know. The 1-1 is lifted foul. We do crack research around here, and that's part of the gig. But nice to see you. Welcome back.
Thanks, man.
This is peak time for you. I'd imagine.
Oh, it's March. It's craziness. I shouldn't be here. I should be sleeping.
Where's the fun of that, right?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
1-2 on Adam Jones. Game tied 2-2 in the third. And May's pitch, breaking ball, is bounced too short. Polanco fielding, setting, throwing in time to get him. 1 out. So for those who are listening right now, watching, and they're making a trip, they have it all planned to come down to Fort Myers, Southwest Florida. Why take a trip with Captain Ryan Cain? What will they see?
Oh, man, if you go with me, they're going to see a good time. That's the biggest thing. You know, there's a lot of people that come here and don't get to see anything other than just the beach. It's kind of neat to look back at the beach.
All right, so let's, elaborate. Well, give us an idea.
We're looking
What's
at dolphins or turtles, all that?
Oh, are you trying to drag on me? Yeah, of course. There's tons of dolphins, tons of turtles, and then you send dad fishing, take the kids at the beach to go shelling and play, mess around, pet a manatee. There's too much to do. Most of the time, we just play hard, go to lunch somewhere cool like Cabbage Key, you know, enjoy your day.
I can see with your tan right now that you wear sunglasses all the time because you've got that Barney Rubble thing. You got that mastered right now.
It's part of the equipment, Corey.
The check swing is a strike call, 1-1. How long is like the expedition? You start from when and end when?
Basically, you know, the quick fishing trip's like 4 hours. If you want to spend a day on the water, you're going to spend 8, 9 hours. If you want to go offshore deep and we go play 100 miles out,
Yeah,
better get up early for that trip, right?
no, man, I got a fast boat. We don't fool around.
Okay.
We leave at 8 o'clock after the coffee.
A couple of the boys went out the other day. You know Paul Hobby, right?
Yeah, I know.
Okay, well, I guess his son is doing the charters now or something.
And he's doing commercial fishing.
Oh, he is? Yeah, they took him out, caught nothing.
Breaking ball,
Hey, it happens to all of us.
I know.
It's a strikeout, the breaking ball. He races Arenado. Second strikeout for Trevor May. And they're quickly 2 down. Game tied 2-2 in the third. Chatting with Captain Ryan Cain, one of our favorites, down here as we visit on this lovely night.
So you can do a half-day tour if you want, full day, anything. How
Yeah.
big a boat? I mean, how many people can
So
get
I have
in?
a couple different boats. I have a 24-foot bay boat that, you know, we do most of our inshore stuff with, a lot of type family quick trips. And then I have a big 36-foot contender with triples, and that's what we do most of our offshore work in. Or some of our bigger families, they got 6 people, they want to have a toilet, you know, they want to have like a real bathroom they go down in. And so they'll use that for even just a play day.
Ball and no strikes on Eric Hosmer. And here comes May, and there's a sinker, strike call. Good movement of that fastball.
Is Florida Keys trip out of the way? Would that be?
No, we go there often.
You do.
We were just there, well, him and I were there last week. We were right on the north side of the Keys.
How long's that ride?
Depends on the weather. Can be 2.5 hours, can be 5 hours if it was crappy.
Ground ball to short. Polanco to his right, can't make the play, and Hosmer an aggressive turnaround first. He will now pull up as the ball gets thrown back into second base. Polanco was playing up the middle. That ball hit to Polanco's right towards the hole at short. Jorge tried to make the play to the backhand side and kicked off the leather, maybe the forearm, into left field.
Almost kind of looked like he
Hosmer's
tried
on.
to come up before he fielded it to get in a throwing position. With that backhand play, would have been a tough throw.
He's ruled a base hit. Single for Hosmer.
No, back in high school.
2, and I should say the game is tied 2-2. Now Posey, he bounced out to short as he bounces one again to short. 2 hopper. This is Polanco fielding, underhand toss to second for the force. And with that, the inning is over. Captain Cain, information, how can folks find you?
It's real easy. SouthernInstinct.com.
Great to see you. Best of luck this season, okay?
All right, you guys be good.
All right, Captain Ryan Cain, we thank him for his time. Team USA leads 1 after 2.5. Game tied 2-2 on your home for Twins baseball. Game tied 2-2. New pitcher for Team USA, former Twin, Pat Neshek. Has the ball to begin the third inning. Bottom half of the third. It'll be Mauer, Dozier, and then Miguel Sano. Neshek now with the Houston Astros, with the Twins, 06. 2010 is last year, then on to San Diego, Oakland, St. Louis, an All-Star in 2014, and back with Houston here for 2017. Strike called on Joe. Now grounded out his first time. Joe now 1 for 6 here in the spring. Neshek now 36 years old. 45th round pick by the Twins back in 1999. That round doesn't even exist anymore. Now capped at 40. Balls and 2 strikes on Joe. Next to Captain Ryan Kane, one of our favorites from Southern Instinct Charter. For stopping by. Here comes Neshek, and Mauer hits one foul off Posey's mask. And Joe, being a former catcher, he's going to give Posey some extra time. 0-2.
It's funny, the guy that he was with, that he goes fishing with, he charters his boat all the time. He lives 2 doors down from me in Eden Prairie.
How about that?
I should have recognized him.
You didn't recognize one of your neighbors.
No, I close the curtains. People drive by, start peeking in. Pretty private.
No balls and 2 strikes as Joe takes down low.
You know, Neshek, you love this guy here. Just the way he throws. He's so animated with his follow through.
Let me correct something I said. I mentioned that Neshek is still with Houston. He was traded to the Phillies this offseason, so Neshek now with Philadelphia. And here's the 1-2. Mauer strikes out swinging. Well, there is that deception, isn't there, with Neshek?
Yeah,
Is he?
You know, and he's not overpowered. He's not a high velocity guy. 83 to maybe, 89. He might touch 90, but it's all arms and legs. So you get a tough read for the release point and where that ball is going to be coming. So it's tough to kind of take your eyes. Sometimes you're better off kind of keeping your eye focused on the shortstop, and then as he gets ready to deliver or get into that release position, then you bring your eyes back to that pitcher.
Brian Dozier pops it up, playable right side. Kinsler backpedaling into shallow right as he will make the catch for the second out. We'll say goodbye to winter in Minnesota and report to spring training down here on those gorgeous beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel. Experience Florida's most natural beaches and islands at FortMyersSanibel.com. So 2 down, game tied 2-2, bottom 3. Sano struck out looking. His first time. Miguel 3 hits this spring, including a home run. He's knocked in 2. As he swings and misses, nothing in 1.
And I don't think Neshek does it to show up the player. I just think that that's part of his quirky personality.
Here comes to Sano as he lifts one foul right side. And now it's 0-2. And before this AB continues, let's step out 10 seconds for station identification on your home for Twins baseball. Game tied 2-2, 2 outs. The 0-2 on Sano, lifted to right down the line, slicing, and going foul. That trade with Houston and the Phillies for Neshek occurred back in early November. Actually, now Neshek drafted twice by the Twins. The 45th round in '99, did not sign. Then 2002, 6th round. Signed that June. And the 0-2 down low. Fastball, ball 1. Not sure how many Team USA pitchers we'll see tonight. Neshek, the 4th. Gregerson, Andrew Miller, Jake McGee, and now Neshek. 2-2 on Miguel. And the 2-2 outside, a breaking ball. Sano did not chase it. 3-2. Kepler on deck if Sano can reach. Righty to righty. 2-2 game, bottom third. And the payoff popped up. Good swing from Sano. This is going to go foul behind the plate. Off speed from Neshek, wearing number 17. Mentioned the jersey and the uniform look. How about this? It's a dark blue uniform top. I'd call it almost a charcoal gray pant. Blue cap, red bill, USA, and block letters on the front in white. How's that?
Yeah, you know everything about charcoal, too.
Big two is a hit foul down the right side, and that will be a souvenir. More ways than one, right, Dan?
Yes.
A lot about charcoal. One of my nicknames. What was that? That stained my hand.
The Burkett.
The Burkett for about a week.
That was like the first week I met you, I think.
Right, that was yeah, early 2012.
Yeah.
And again, the pitch, check swing, ground ball. This is going to be playable back towards the mound. Neshek fields, flips to first. And with that, the inning is over. Game tied 2-2 after 3. And folks, as we go to break, we want to take a moment and pay tribute to Bill Webb, who passed away sadly yesterday. Bill was a vital member of Fox Sports and directed Major League Baseball broadcasts for over 40 years. He is Fox Sports' top baseball director, working 17 World Series and receiving over 30 Emmys for his work on postseason baseball. Bill is a member of the Sports Broadcasting Hall of Fame, and he will be missed by many. More next on your home for Twins baseball. This portion of Twins baseball is brought to you by your local Chevy dealers. See your local Chevy dealer or log on to ChevyDealer.com today. 2-2 through 3. The fourth is on. Here's Danny.
Well, thank you, Corey. Good evening, everybody. Giancarlo Stanton swings and laces it into right center field. Here comes Kepler on. Kepler, chest high catch. So Stanton struck out his first time. Leads off here in the top of the fourth. Flies out to right field. Batter now is going to be Daniel Murphy. Trevor May trying to get out to that fourth inning here and get extended out. Roughed up, couple of hits or a couple of runs in the first inning. And settled down after that. Gave up a 2-out base hit in the third. Other than that, a couple of strikeouts, 1 walk. And a ground ball, weakly hit. Polanco on the charge near the bag at second. Over to Mauer to retire Murphy. So boy, you get a good inning here. And Have a good night. And here's Andrew McCutchen. McCutchen batting 8th in this lineup, normally with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So in the middle of the lineup, hit 3rd, driving in some big runs. Hit 24 home runs last year, 79 driven in. Only 6 stolen bases last year as Trevor May delivers down and away, ball 1. McCutchen would reach. Brandon Crawford would bat. Twins got 2 in the bottom half of the 2nd inning. 1 out double by Kepler. Park walked. And a fly out and a 2-out base hit by Castro. Scored 1, and then Polanco had an infield base hit. Strike called, evens it up, 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 down, bases empty. 2-2 tie. And goes off speed, misses down and in. The USA team will play tomorrow afternoon against the Boston Red Sox. As McCutchen lifts this one foul over the Twins dugout. Play an afternoon game. And then head over to Miami and open up Friday night. Marlins Park against Columbia, who the Twins play tomorrow afternoon here at CenturyLink Sports Complex. And runs a sinker down and in. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Base is empty. 2 down. May rocks and delivers and missed down and in.
Good eye.
So Trevor walked McCutchen now twice. Second walk of the ball game, and that's going to get Paul Molitor out of the dugout. So that's going to be it for Trevor May. Nice outing here. Let's see the lefty get Crawford out. So Trevor May, 3 2/3, leads with a runner at first. Tied up 2-2. We'll be back near home for Twins baseball. A new pitcher for the Twins, left-hander Randy Rosario. 6'1", 210 pounds, from the Dominican Republic. Put on the 40-man roster and came into camp last year for the first time, but spent most of the season last year in Fort Myers. 16 starts, was in 21 ball games, went 6-6. And then went up Double-A Chattanooga, was in 4 ball games there, just 6 innings long. Had 5 walks, 10 strikeouts. Not a big-bodied kid, but good mechanics. He's on to face left-handed hitting Brandon Crawford. Crawford with the Giants. You look at this USA team, and you look at how many games these guys all played in last year. Crawford, Gold Glover last year, played in 155 ball games. And a first pitch down and away, ball 1. McCutchen at first base, 2 down, 2-2 tie. Boy, Crawford pretty much straight up, Sano though off the line at third. Line drive hit hard to center. Buxton coming in, now comes in, shoe tops catch. Boy, he held his ground and then all of a sudden committed in and made a nice catch. That ball was hit hard. But it's an out. They strand one. 3.5 complete. Tied up 2-2 on your home for Twins baseball. A new pitcher for the USA team will be right-hander David Robertson, Chicago White Sox closer. And his name circled around a little bit in the offseason. Possible trade. He's had 37 saves, 62 in the third innings pitched. 75 punch-outs. And Kepler's going to bat, and Leland is calling timeout. He's going to incorporate the shift. And don't see that too often, if at all, in spring training. And Kepler's going to show bunt, and he pulls it back. It's there for Kepler, and I would say that if he bunted it down there after they pulled the shift, called timeout, brought the third baseman Arenado in shallow right field, that's kind of showing up the manager. And again, he shows bunt, and he takes it down and in. So 2 balls and no strikes. I think if you're Jim Leland, you're barking a little bit. Now they're trying to hold Crawford in a little bit near the grass, but 2 balls, no strikes. Kind of a hitter's count right now. Robertson out of the stretch, 2-2 tie here in the bottom of the 4th. There's a low strike call. Kepler had a 1-out double in the second, just his 3rd hit. He is 3 for 17. All 3 hits by Kepler been for doubles. And a pitch high and away. Well, we got a bad scouting report because we understood that for the USA team, Gregerson was going to start, maybe go 2 innings, and then it was going to be mostly the Twins pitchers. There's a strike, good location on a little cutter on the outside corner. And now 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought going in, yeah, it'd be great to see some of these guys from Team USA, but everybody kept saying before the game, probably Gregerson, like you said, then Twins minor leaguers might fill the rest of the pitching lines tonight.
And a 3-2 on the way. Missed outside. He walked him. So the Twins have the go-ahead run on and a walk. And like the Twins players that are playing for their respective countries, they left Monday, and I'm assuming that a lot of the players here that were out maybe in Arizona left also on Monday after a workout. They worked out yesterday. They said at JetBlue, had a practice there. Game here tonight. They're going to play a day game tomorrow. Travel over to Miami. and get going on Friday night.
Friday night, Team USA will begin for real against Colombia at Marlins Park.
As Park takes a breaking ball that's in there for a strike.
Then the next night, understand that Marlins Park is sold out for Team USA against the Dominican Republic. Ooh. And the Dominican team won the World Baseball Classic back in 2013. That's a great looking squad again this year.
You know, you were talking earlier about the U.S. team has never been in the top 4.
Yeah.
Park takes a fastball that's in there now quickly and hold, no balls and 2 strikes.
Team USA has never been to the finals, 10-10 all time.
You know, you talk about the Dominican Republic won it last year. Do you remember who or 4 years ago? Remember who the pitcher was? Wasn't he a Twin?
Samuel Deduno was on that team. Yeah.
Was he a Twin? I think he was.
Oh yeah, I think he was in the Twins minor leagues at the time. Yeah.
No cutter inside as Park jumped back out of the way and almost got the inside corner.
They had some big league time. Would he 2012? I have to go back and look.
Yeah.
It had to be around there because I think he made his Twins debut in Texas.
Yep. And then he hooked up.
Rangers.
We saw him, I think, last with the Houston Astros. And a 1-2 on the way. It's outside and low. 2
Carlos
balls, 2
Santana
strikes.
was the catcher for the Dominican team back in 2013, and he enjoyed working with Deduno a few years ago.
You know, you talk a lot of the players, and it seems like the Latin players really enjoy. And you talk about some of the American players that didn't get snubbed but not selected to play on this team. A lot of those guys would like to play. Ground ball should be 2. Crawford. Kinsler to second, back to first in time for the double play.
Because Deduno did have some big league time, about 5 or 6 games with San Diego and Colorado before coming to the Twins. So a very small sample.
2 down, bases empty. Robbie Grossman will bat. Well, I think you talk to some players, they like it. And you'd also talk to some coaches. I think there's a larger workload for some of the coaches and front office people in trying to prepare for this. I think a lot of guys get to come into camp a little bit more than maybe normal, even though 65 players, 64 players seems to be the norm nowadays, getting guys into camp. 1 ball, no strikes, 2 down, bases empty, 2-2 tie. And there's one in the dirt. Nice stop there by Posey. That was about a 55-footer. Robbie 0 for 1, flew out to right field his only at bat. 3 hits, 17 trips to the plate. This being his 9th ball game. And Robertson catches the corner. That's a little cutter, and Robertson, pretty much just a 2-pitch pitcher, came over to the White Sox from the Yankees. And a 2-1. It's high, 3 balls and 1 strike.
White Sox parted with Chris Sale, Adam Eaton this offseason. For now, Jose Quintana remains in Chicago. This talented guy, the closer Robertson, Todd Frazier, third baseman, free agent after the year, remains in Chicago.
Ground ball, third, going to be backed up. Arenado, Gold Glover over there at third, low throw. Gold Glover not picked out by Hosmer at first base. So Arenado will be charged with an error. Allows Robbie Grossman to advance to second base. You don't see that too often. Okay, you got a Gold Glover at third. Hey, bad throw, don't worry about it. I'm throwing it to a guy over there that won a Gold Glove, and Hosmer.
When Hosmer is with the Royals and the Twins and Royals are playing, he makes that play every time.
Yeah. You know what? And you talk to anybody, any first baseman that's won a Gold Glove, they'll tell you the reason they've won it is because of the poor throws by the infielders, because he's got to make so many picks. The ball's in the dirt. They make him look good. Here's Castro. Castro had a big base hit RBI tying this ball game up. I'm sorry, driving in the first run. As Robertson delivers outside. But these guys have been in camp with their respective clubs, so they've been in camp getting in shape. So it's not like, you know, if it's their day to pitch, yes, they can come in and pitch an inning. Slider down and in. 2 balls and no strikes. And I was reading some of the rules that's going to pertain to the WBC, and that if a guy pitches, I think it's over 50 pitches, he's got to sit for 4 days. And if it's 30 pitches, a guy in the bullpen, he's got to sit a day. Little cutter inside as Castro had to raise his arm. So that's going to be tricky, because I think if a guy's in the bullpen coming out and he throws 25, 28 pitches, he can be used the next day.
I don't think, you mentioned the Team USA plays the Red Sox tomorrow. I don't think you'll see a single Team USA pitcher in that game against Boston. They wanted everybody healthy, ready, without any rule violation, ready to go come Friday against the Colombian team.
But I just think, though, that in order to be ready and healthy, Corey, you got to play. So maybe I need 2 at-bats tomorrow, 3 at-bats tomorrow.
I think you'll see the lineup, but I think the pitchers will be, minor league guys that the Red Sox probably loaned to Team USA.
And fouled straight back into the netting. Good cut there by Castro. Well, how would you like to be on the bench tonight and go to the manager and say, I can't believe I'm not playing? You've got all-star players already, but you've got an all-star Gold Glover sitting on the bench too. So if you're Jim Leyland, it's like, hey, I'm going to pull one out of the hat this time. I mean, is Kinsler going to start over Murphy? Is Murphy going to start over Kinsler? Here's a 3-2 on the way. Fouled off again. Well, Castro gives you some good at-bats. We were talking to Paul Molitor earlier in the dugout. Jorge Polanco was having a long extended at-bat, and Paul was saying that's what he'll do, is kind of fight off some tough pitches, and we're seeing that with Castro as well. Go ahead run, and Grossman at second base, 2 down. Bottom of the 4th. Checks the runner, long pause, and the righty delivers. Check swing. He went around on it as Posey tags him out. So the Twins strand 1. We have completed 4, and it's still knotted up 2-2. You're listening to Twins baseball. So the Twins right-hander Ryan Vogelsong. Vogelsong making his 4th appearance. He's logged 3 1/3 innings. Giving up 4 hits and 4 runs. Trying to make this ball club either as a long reliever out of the bullpen. He has some big league experience. And he's also played on the USA team before. Also was a all-star player. Vogelsong has the baseball card. And he'll face the top of the order. Here's Ian Kinsler. And a righty's first pitch in tight ball 1. One thing that Neil Allen has been trying to do is get the pitchers to pitch a little more effective inside to hitters, and that's been stressed with these guys in the bullpen and also in the games. A little flare to right field. Kepler comes jogging in. Easy play for Max. So 1 out. Kinsler now 1 for 3. And the other day, off day for the teams, but Phil Hughes' day to pitch. He went to the minor leagues and faced some of the minor leaguers and pitched well down there. Some strikeouts, gave up a couple of hits or 1 hit. But he also hit a batter, and that was part of pitching inside and he felt bad that he hit a kid. I think it was a no ball 2-strike count. But that's something that the Twins and Neil Allen is trying to stress with the pitching staff this year, is to pitch inside a little bit more.
Yeah, the guy he hit, Travis Harrison, outfielder, and he had to be replaced in the lineup tonight. He was scheduled to be one of those guys on loan for Team USA. Instead, Lamont Wade takes his spot on the Team USA roster tonight.
Adam Jones bats. He has 1 hit, 2 trips to the plate, as Vogelsong quickly falls behind 2 balls and no strikes. Adam Jones, Gold Glover here, played 152 ball games. And a righty delivers, swung on well, stroke center field. Buxton still tracking. Buxton still tracking on the track, jumps up, makes the catch. Timed it perfectly. Got on the warning track, jumped up, caught it, and made contact with that padded wall in center field. Those are the plays Buxton likes to play. That's a fun play for him. One center fielder robbing another center fielder. Get used to it. Got a good jump on it. Timed it perfectly.
No fear of the wall either, Dan.
And that's one thing that you really can't teach a player. I think that's always been in Byron's DNA, and that is no fear of the wall out there. So 2 down. Arenado will bat. He has a double. Drove in the only 2 runs. Ground ball in the hole at short. Here's a good play for Polanco. Comes up throwing in the dirt. Picked out by Maurer. Nice play. Tough play for Polanco, and a nice play over there at first base by Joe Maurer. 3 up, 3 down. 4.5 in the books. Knotted up 2-2 on your home for Twins baseball. Complex. Twins taking on the USA team. They open up WBC action Friday night over in Miami. New pitcher for the USA team. It'll be right-hander Nate Jones. Jones last year put up some good numbers with the Chicago White Sox. And he'll come on and face hitters 9, 1, and 2 for the Twins. And a first pitch, fastball in there for a strike. Look at Jones's numbers. 70 2/3 innings pitched. He had 80 punch-outs and just 15 walks. And right back, little tap and foul off the foot of Polanco. Now no balls and 2 strikes. Well, here's an offer for you. It's Twin Spring Ballpark Pass. It's going to get you into 30 ball games at Target Field. It's this April and May, all for just $99. You can have access to every game except the home opener. That's 30 games for under $100. This offer good until April 4th and only through the MLB Ballpark app on your mobile device. 0-2 pitch. Polanco fouls this one straight back. 30 ball games for $100. That's pretty good. I missed the opener, but I still get to go to 30 ball games. But you order it through April 4th, and you got to get it through MLB Ballpark app on your mobile device. 2-2 tie. USA team 2 in the top of the first inning, had 3 hits in a row. And delivers Jones up and away. Good fastball. Twins got 2 back in the bottom half of the second inning. 1 out double by Kepler. Park walk. Robbie Grossman flew out, advanced the runner Kepler to third, and then Castro had a base hit, drove in the first run, and then Jorge Polanco with an RBI single. And strike 3. Boy, nasty breaking ball there. Locked him up. Here's Byron Buxton. A great catch out there in center field, robbing Andrew Jones of extra base hits. Adam Jones. As Nate Jones delivers. Big swing and a miss, went off speed. So Buxton in the hole, no balls and 2 strikes. Joe Mauer in the on deck circle. Jones out of the stretch, swing and a miss, came after him. Boy, I would say that Nate Jones is ready to go. Final tune-up for him. Here's Joe Mauer to bat. Joe went down swinging, facing former teammate Pat Neshek. Back in the 3rd inning. Mauer 1-for now, 1 for 7. 3 walks.
Yeah, Danny, we saw David Robertson, now Nate Jones, 2 key cogs back into the White Sox bullpen, working consecutively here.
As a strike, Mauer takes it.
And it's just kind of puzzling to me. Maybe I'm not sure how you feel about it, but why it did not work with the White Sox the last 3 or 4 years with the group that they had. They had some young talent. They had an ace. They had solid bullpen. You know, when Austin Jackson was healthy early last year, the outfield defense was tremendous. But it just never clicked over the full course of the season.
You know, I thought we saw some things that kind of unfolded a little bit last year with maybe Chris Sale, maybe some things happening, some rumblings. But I thought Chris Sale could kind of help that team and, firing them up a little bit with doing some stuff like that. There's a strike in there. Sometimes you need a player to act like that or do something like that to kind of get everybody else to kind of get in line. But boy, when you look at that team they had, young shortstop
Tim Anderson, yeah.
Out of Abreu, they've got Frazier at third. I just couldn't figure it out. They were too good of a team, and Robin Ventura maybe had an opportunity to come back and elected to step down. As Mauer bats, counted 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, they have retooled the Chicago White Sox. There's strike 3. Mauer looking, and boy, Nate Jones put him on ice. He's done. 3 up, 3 down, 3 punch outs, 5 complete. 2-2 tie on your home for Twins baseball. Or I'm sorry, CenturyLink Sports Complex. Matt Belisle is the new pitcher for the Twins, and he'd be facing first pitcher is going to be Eric Hosmer. And Ryan Vogelson joins us down in the dugout. How you doing? I haven't had a chance to talk to you, catch up to you.
Yeah, where you been hiding?
I've been hiding now. Come on, you've been working.
Yeah, I've been doing that too, but you've been hiding a little bit.
A little bit, man. You go into the training room, you'd see me.
Well, that's why I don't see you, because I stay out of that place.
Yes, you do. How you been?
I'm doing great, man. It's good to hear your voice. It's been a while.
Yes, it has. We got some stories go back. We won't talk about them here tonight, though, okay?
Yeah, let's stay away from those.
All right.
Those were in my younger days.
Mine, too. Ground ball to the new second baseman, and it is Nick Gordon on the grass and stumbles a little bit. It's going to be an infield base hit for Eric Hosmer. Ryan, you got to put that USA uniform on. How was that?
You know what? It was something that I never thought early in my career. You know, ended up going to Japan for 3 years, and I never thought I would ever have the opportunity to do it. So when I came back and had some really good years and got asked to do it, there was no way I was going to say no. It was it's something special to wear USA on your front of your jersey.
Well, the batter's going to be Jonathan Lucroy. He'll bat for Buster Posey. You know, let me ask you, when you look over and see all the names that are being introduced here, you had some players like that on your team as well, didn't you?
Yeah, there's a couple guys over there that were on my team. So Adam Jones was on the team, Stanton, this guy Jonathan Lucroy. There's a couple guys, Gregerson in the bullpen. So yeah, it's you know, they got a good roster. I hope they do well. You know, I wish we would have done a little bit better. We got knocked out in the second round, but you know, I hope they win it all.
Lucroy takes that first pitch down and away. It's 2-2 tie here in the top half of the 6th inning, and takes another one inside.
Hey, Ryan, it's Corey Provis upstairs with Danny. Let me ask you about last season, the scare you suffered with the Pirates. You took that line drive off your face. You suffered several facial fractures. The mental hurdle to come back from that and still pitch last season, how much of a challenge was that?
Well, I don't want to correct you, but I didn't get hit with a line drive, because that means I threw a bad pitch. I got hit. I was batting. I got hit with an 0-2 fastball. So that's why I signed with the American League team, so I don't have to hit anymore. But yeah, it was tough. I've been through a lot of stuff in my career, and that was by far the hardest thing. Just not knowing, you know, right away, not knowing if my vision was going to be there. I didn't know for a while if my eye was even in my head. you know, and then to find out that I could see, but not knowing if it was going to be good enough to play baseball again. It was, you know, it was a tough week or so until my vision got back to 20/20, and I knew I was going to have a chance to play again. So it was very difficult.
3 balls and a strike to Luke Craig. Ground ball should be 2. That's fielded by Gordon.
Out of way.
Fielded by Danny Santana. He pulls the head off the bag, but he tags out the base runner. Nice job all around, and 2 down now. Base is empty for Giancarlo Stanton. So how sum up your spring so far? I know you're really not the deadline right now, but you're getting to the point with your performance here tonight that you're where you want to be.
No. It's not even close. Just still trying to iron some stuff out. You know, feel, you know, pretty good 50% of the time, you know, with my tempo and everything. Tempo is a big thing for me. I get a little quick there every once in a while. I got to remind myself to slow down, but I'd say I'm hitting about 50% of pitches I want to hit right now, and I'll keep throwing balls that get hit if Buxton keeps making catches like that.
How about that? Ground ball right side. That's going to go foul. Have they told you, are you grooming yourself to pitch out of the bullpen, or are you still one of those guys in that 5th slot right now?
I think we're still kind of up in the air. You know, I prefer to start, especially at this stage of my career. You know, I probably could use the extra days and the routine and knowing when you're throwing. That doesn't mean I can't throw out of the bullpen. I just prefer starting, and that's where I'm most comfortable. That's where I feel like I perform the best. And so I got a couple starts here coming up at the end of the week. I got one of the split squad games on Sunday in Pittsburgh, so it'll be nice to get out there and start and kind of have the way I get ready. Normally, it's definitely a little bit different for me coming out of the bullpen, warming up, and getting your mindset quick like that. It's just. It's hard to explain, but it's definitely different.
Ryan, I'm sure you had interest from other teams this offseason. What was it about the Twins? What made that connection work?
Well, first of all, the opportunity to come in here and compete to win a job to start, 1. And 2, you know, I just see a lot of talent on this team. This team reminds me a lot of Houston a couple years ago. You know, they finished in last place, and then the next year, you know, shocked everybody. And while I was sitting there, and I was even talking to Houston at the time, almost signed there, I go, this team's a lot better than people give it credit for, and then they make the playoffs. And I kind of see this team as the same way. I think there's a lot of talent in this dugout, and I think we can be a lot better than people give us credit for, and we can surprise a lot of people.
Hey, Ryan, appreciate you sticking around talking to us. We'll talk to you. I'll catch up, okay?
All right, you got it, man.
Strikeout by Stanton. 1 hit, nobody left. As we complete 5.5. 2-2 tie on your home for Twins baseball. changes for the USA team. New pitcher is going to be a Twins pitcher, Drew Ruzinski, a right-hander. So he'll come on right here. We got a couple other changes. Batter's going to be Danny Santana. I'm sorry, it's Nick Gordon leading off. Then Miguel Sano. So Gordon going to bat left-handed. Ruzinski, the righty, delivers. Runs it outside, misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Joined to the dugout. None other than Brian Dozier. Dozier, how you doing tonight?
Good, baby. How y'all doing?
Everything's good, man. Tied up 2-2. Thought maybe late win tonight.
I heard that. I was trying to sneak in another at bat. He got me out of there.
How do you feel right now? Are you where you want to be as to your at bats and your playing time?
Yeah, pretty much. Timing still got a little ways to go. It's kind of, it'll pick up in the next week or two. But yeah, that's all you want is in good health and getting your legs underneath you. But kind of right where you need to be. It's always kind of the same thing every spring. Once the last 2 weeks hit, then your timing starts to get pretty locked in. So we're almost there.
As a righty delivers in a high pitch. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Hey, Brian, welcome back to camp, by the way. Condolences to you, Renee, and the family. I know tough time right now with the passing of your grandmother.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Corey. Yeah, 97 years old. I don't know if I'll make it anywhere close to that. She lived a good life.
Well, slicer down the left field line. That's going to land for a base hit. New left fielder is Christian Yelich. So the Twins, Gordon going the other way, opposite field double. You know, let me ask you about Nick Gordon and stuff. And Doge, you work with these infielders every day. A lot of these younger guys may be sponging from you a little bit and talking to you.
No, absolutely. Shoot it. You know what? All you want to see is when a guy comes over like that, like a Gordon or some of the other young guys taking ground balls with them and stuff, is they're all ears. And they, like you said, like a sponge, they just soak in everything, which is a really good thing. And because you see sometimes where guys come in and try to do it their way, and and got to get, you just got to fill them out a little bit. But I tell you what, Nick's a tremendous athlete with a lot of upside, and he's all ears, and he's willing to learn, which is a great thing.
Well, Miguel Sano bats right now. Nobody out, runner at second. Gordon can run a little bit, has a good lead right now at second. And a check swing. He went around on it. That's going to even it up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Doge, you look across the other dugout here, you see that USA team. You'd like to have been on it, right?
No, absolutely, for sure. It's, I think I kind of made it clear I wanted to, if I got the opportunity, I would for sure play. It didn't work out, but shoot, they got a squad this year. That balls hit pretty well.
It's in the ballpark, backed up, and now on the warning track, drifted well. He's going to reach up, make that catch. Gordon,
keep going. Watch him.
Yeah, get it in here. Rounds third, and so he can productive out. You like to hear that.
Absolutely. How's it going?
But you look at this club over here, and you've got, Corey and I were talking about, you got Gold Glovers all over the field, and champions and batting title guys and MVPs. So sometimes I find myself kind of looking out there and seeing how good baseball has with some of the elite players and some of the players like yourself sitting in the dugout. I'm on that team. Yeah,
well, I mean, you look across, and like you said, all these MVPs and Gold Glovers and Silver Sluggers. So that's obviously the best in the game, and top to bottom, it's even their pitching staff. They run out there with Miller, McGee, and a lot of other guys. Their bullpen's really good, and they're gonna be able to swing it too. You look out there, geez, 1 through 9, and they can also pick it out there, and that's what it's all about. It's a fun time. It's a fun thing for baseball to compete internationally. So it's gonna be fun to watch it.
J.B. Shuck pulls this one down the right field line with a runner at third, but well foul. You know what I enjoyed here tonight was watching Byron Buxton rob a Gold Glover in Adam Jones out there in center field.
I tell you what, that guy can play some defense, huh?
Yes.
And he does the little things right out there too. He takes really good routes. He throws the right bases. He keeps double plays in order. He does the little things. I know it wows the fans by all the plays that you just saw, and robbing extra base hits and homers and diving plays and stuff. But what makes a really good player up here is doing the things that kind of go unnoticed, and he does them. And that's why it kind of puts him over the edge defensively.
J.B. Shuck's batting, trying to get that go-ahead run in at third base, and runs it fastball outside.
Yeah, Brian, let me ask you, when Buxton is batting and he puts the ball in play, it goes to the gap or goes down the line, do you and the guys in the dugout become just fans, just forget the ball, just watching Buxton run?
I tell you what, when he hits a gapper or something, yeah, how fast he gets down the line on a ground out or anything like that, or infield single and that kind of stuff. But when he hits that, when he gets the ball to the wall, it's I think all eyes are on him to see how fast he can get to third base.
You know, there was a guy in camp, Granite, that led the minor leagues in stolen bases, and you talk about his stolen base, you know, and he did it in the minor leagues. Buxton was really not that prolific stolen base guy. He's got the speed. Still, Buxton can beat him in a 60-yard race?
Oh, my goodness, yeah. I don't know if any guy, I think the Gore guy, the little guy for Kansas City, he might be the one that can contest his speed.
That should be deep enough to get the run in from third base off the bat of Byung-Ho Park, and sure enough, Gordon is going to tag up. Twins lead now 3-2. Good play baseball right there.
That's a great way. That's what we talk about all the time.
Yes.
Don't let that first strike go by, especially a runner in scoring position. Let it eat. Look at that. Take the lead in the sixth.
Well, I just look at it as a leadoff double. You get the runner. Sano made a productive out, walk, good at bat by Shuck, and then, like you said, jump on that pitch early in the count.
Good teams manufacture runs like that right there. And, we got to get a lot better at it, but that's a good showing right there for them.
As Paulson now is going to bat, and he fouls that first pitch off. You love the aggressiveness off of these guys early in a ball game like that. And I think we saw that with the USA team when they came out. Kinsler swinging the bat, Jones swung the bat, Arenado. And can that change during the course of the game, that maybe you're aggressive early, be a little more patient later?
Yeah, I think in baseball it's just changed in generally. You know, the old school way is, you know, get to the pin and see pitches and blah 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 and all this kind of stuff. But you can't let these you know, these first pitch strikes, heaters down the middle go by and stuff, because you might not get another one. Now, especially down here in spring training, you know, a lot of guys like to take pitches and get their feel for it and timing and that. But I say I'm the exact opposite. I like to get up there swinging. That kind of gets me going, I guess, in that the timing aspect of things.
As we've seen throughout your career, when you're in that leadoff spot to begin a game, you're aggressive if you get that first pitch.
Well, yeah, I mean, 99% of the time it's a heater, which you like those get me over heaters.
Check swing, throw down to second base, and he's going to be safe on the stolen base. So Shuck with a stolen base, now in scoring position. I believe the pitch was called a strike.
And speaking of the lineup, we had Paul Molitor on earlier, and you're pretty honest with this, as is Paul, that you like that #1 spot. Will you put up a fight if you see your name down in the order?
You know what? I think it all, from talking with Molly, he's pretty open about it, but I think it kind of all relies on how Buxton does, especially early on in the season. If because it is a big role being a leadoff hitter, and you know how he progresses offensively and that kind of thing. I love the leadoff spot. I always have, for a number of reasons.
Hard hit to the second baseman. Nice play there. And there's a third out. Twins will pick up a run. You're talking to a guy that he gets a day off and he goes in and argues with the manager, okay? So you can imagine if he's anywhere else in that lineup. Hey, Doge.
You sticking around, right? One more half inning?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. We'll be back. Twins take the lead 3-2 on your home for Twins baseball. Twins baseball is always brought to you by the beaches of Fort Myers at Sanibel. Find your island, find your warm white sand beaches. Find the moments that always end too soon but become memories forever. All you have to do is visit FortMyersSanibel.com. Ryan Presley, new pitcher for the Twins, new broadcaster. Here's Corey Probus.
All right, Danny, thank you. Twins on top 3-2. As he mentioned, it is Presley pitching and Daniel Murphy is the batter. Brian Dozier stuck around for another half inning. We thank him for doing that inside the Twins' third base dugout. As Presley comes home 0-1, Murphy lofts one foul back behind the plate, 0-2. Some other big picture topics I wanted to bring up with you, leaving the Twins and your numbers and all that alone for a second. You know, Brian, come 2020, the Olympic Games, the Summer Games return, and they will take place in Tokyo. And with that, baseball and also softball will be part of the Summer Games for the first time since 2008. Could you see a scenario in anywhere where Major League Baseball would say, let's pause our season and allow you guys to play if it would fit for Team USA in the Summer Games? As Murphy strikes out swinging on a slider, so one out. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, you know what? There's a lot of things involved with going down that road as far as pausing the season, obviously with the you know, the collective bargaining agreement and negotiate all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I think it's great. I know you know, a lot of other countries are pausing their league, so to speak, and getting their best players, and I don't see why we wouldn't do the same. I feel like we can find some kind of way, whether it be, you know, every 4 years we not have an all-star game, and that could be the kind of week and a half off, or whatever it may be. But I think it should work out, and I believe we should. We should find a way to make, obviously, international play, especially in the Olympics, pretty exciting, and send our best players over there.
Christian Yelich, the batter. He sent one deep and foul to left. Twins lead 3-2 in the 7th inning. Yeah, the 0-1. Chop to the right side. This is Gordon gloving about bell time. He throws out Yelich, and there is out number 2. Danny, go ahead.
Well, I just think that's kind of tough to do because what happens, I think you're asking to stop the season for whatever, 7-10 days. That's a lot of ball games that aren't going to be played around the country, and that's a lot of revenue that I think the owners are not willing to give up. That, to me, is the bottom line there.
Yeah, and you know, it is a business, and unfortunately, you know, that kind of thing, and you look at the bottom line or whatever. But I just still think that there's a way in order to, you know, I might be getting ahead of myself or whatever you want to call it, but the fact that in order to whether it be the owners still get part of the revenue for
the Olympics,
or, you know, whatever it may be. And but I feel like fans would love to see that. I know the Classics is a really good thing, and obviously this year coming up and are going on right now, obviously. But I feel like it can even take a step further.
Alex Bregman of the Astros sends one to right near the track. Playable, caught by J.B. Shuck. And with that, the inning is over. Ryan Presley works a 1-2-3-7. Brian Dozier, always appreciate the time. We'll catch up more as we kind of move along down here.
All right, fella, appreciate it.
All right, Brian Dozier, we thank him for his time. We stretch in Fort Myers. Twins on top 3-2 on your home for Twins baseball. Mayo Clinic Sports Medicine brings you Twins baseball. From aspiring youth athletes to the pros, Mayo Clinic Sports Medicine will help you meet your sports performance goals. Call today to make your appointment at Mayo Clinic Square in Minneapolis. Corey Provus, Danny Gladden. From the CenturyLink Sports Complex, Twins and Team USA, we thank you for tuning in and watching tonight. Simulcast on Fox Sports North and on MLB Network. We thank you for tuning in. Twins lead by 1, bottom 7. New pitcher, a Twin, but now throwing for Team USA, Alex Wimmers. We saw late last season, former first-round pick, overcame a few injuries throughout his climb, but he reached the big leagues and did not give up. And Alex is pitching here in this home 7th, facing John Ryan Murphy. His first at bat, 2 balls and no strikes on Murphy.
You know, the extra players that are in that USA dugout over there, I think I got to be walking around with a couple of balls and say, hey, Giancarlo, would you sign this for me, please?
Ground ball in the hole at short. Picked by Bregman. Spinning jump throw across. Is dug out by Goldschmidt. Nicely played by the young shortstop, Alex Bregman, to his right. Good play, 1 out.
Well, real nice play right there, and probably didn't have enough time to really kind of plant and get something on it, so he airmailed it over there. Short hopped it. Murphy doesn't run all that well, but Goldschmidt over there at first base, boy, he's a Gold Glove caliber first baseman as well.
So the All-Star Future game in San Diego. And he had a solid finish to his big league season. Last 41 games with Houston. Bregman hit over 300, 8 home runs, knocked in 32, OPS over 900. And Bregman now at short as Danny Santana, speaking of shortstops, he bats here in the 7th inning. Switch hitter. Danny's out of options here in 2017. The 1-0 from Wimmers is down low. And we've seen Santana kind of bounce around a little bit here and there. Danny's played some infield, played some outfield. Yep. That's going to be his role if he's on the team.
And I want to see him tested on both second base, both at shortstop, and then the outfield. I think he can play the outfield, but I think at shortstop we haven't seen him there lately. So I think it's important that he gets tested at those positions.
Danny Santana was the opening day shortstop in 2015. And the 2-1, strike 2 called on the inside corner, fastball from Wimmers. But Danny Santana was a terrific outfielder.
Yes.
Really, you go back to the second half of 2014.
Well, I think what's important for Danny Santana, not so much the bat, and it is his glove.
And the 2-2 is high, ball 3. Is he one that can't separate the two? If things are going bad defensively, does that carry into his offense?
Well, you wouldn't think where he's at right now in his career, and I think he's kind of graduated to that. But like Paul said, he wants somebody on the bench that maybe with some speed.
Strike 3 call. Good pitch there from Wimmers. Slider on the inside corner. Santana was looking for something else. So 2 down. Twins lead 3-2 in the 7th. And before Zach Grant at bats, we're a bit behind. Let's take 10 seconds now for ID from Fort Myers. This is Twins baseball. Two down for Zach Granite. Heard his name mentioned a moment ago. Zach, the Twins minor league player of the year last year, stole more than 50 bases. At Double-A Chattanooga, he was one of 6 added to the 40-man roster this offseason. And the 1-0 is inside from Wimmers. 2 balls and no strikes. Zach Granite drawing a lot of praise down here so far. A guy that's really making the most of this opportunity in all facets. Not just with performance, but what he's doing in the clubhouse around his teammates as he pulls a ground ball foul. He is going to soak up, and Brian Dozier mentioned this to us a moment ago. You know, Nick Gordon's name came up in conversation, but Zach Granite trying to soak up all the information from all the different personalities, whether they are current big leaguers, former big leaguers, guys like Torrey Hunter, Michael Kadire, who were down here earlier. That's what you want to see and hear about a young player. Wimmers to Granite, and the 2-1 is poked foul back behind the plate. Granite 14th round pick, 2013 draft. Still makes his home in Staten Island, New York. minor league leadoff hitter, center fielder on his professional career. And the 2-2, breaking ball up, ball 3.
Corey, as you mentioned, a granite young kid here in first big league camp, and seeing the Hunters and the Kadire, it kind of reminded me when I was my first big league camp. Going there, and there's Willie Mays and Willie McCovey, Jimmy Davenport.
Strikes out swinging here. So nice job from Alex Wimmers, a scoreless 7th. He struck out 2, and we are through 7. Twins lead Team USA 3-2 on your home for Twins baseball. We have reached the 8th inning. Exhibition play from Fort Myers. Twins lead Team USA 3-2. New pitcher on for the Twins. Non-roster invite, veteran, left-hander, 36-year-old Greg Breslow. He's pitching with a 1-run lead right now. Breslow will be summoned for the 4th time so far. 2 1/3 scoreless innings. He's walked 3 but struck out 4. Paul Goldschmidt, slugging first baseman from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Will bat for the first time tonight. 4-time All-Star. The pitch is on the way on Goldschmidt. It's up. There's ball 1. Since 1998, Goldschmidt is one of only 5 players to finish in the top 2 twice in the MVP voting in a 5-year span. Impressive. There's a strike called on Goldschmidt. And now it's 1-1. In a 3-year span, beg your pardon, Ryan Braun, Albert Pujols, Ryan Howard, Barry Bonds, and Goldschmidt. And the 1-1 pitch, ground ball in the hole at short. This is fielded by the shortstop, and his throw is going to be dug out by Matt Haig in the back end. Good play by Danny Santana to his right. On the run, low throw dug out by Haig, and there's the play, Danny, you wanted to see a moment ago.
Very nice, and he knows he had a little bit of time. He got enough on that throw, and he can afford to go ahead and bounce it over there and get the good hop. That's the nice play that you're looking for.
So Danny Santana with a good play at short, 1 out. This will be Tanner English, Twins minor leaguer. Batting here against Breslow, a smash up the middle and through, base hit center field. Rocket right up the middle, and that one is misplayed in center by Zach Granite. And with that, English hustling all the way takes second base. And his head up as he was rounding first base, and that ball was misplayed by Granite. And the error will move the tying run into scoring position. With 1 out, and the batter will be Josh Harrison.
Almost looked like he kind of took his eyes up just a little bit as that ball was getting near his glove.
Josh Harrison of the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was added to the World Baseball Classic roster to replace St. Louis's Matt Carpenter. Harrison was an all-star back in 2014. Steps in from the right side. Breslow from the stretch, and the pitch is a strike call. Speaking of the WBC, Breslow was scheduled to pitch for Team Israel, but he decided to pass on that opportunity and wanted to focus his efforts on winning a job here in big league camp. 0-1 on Harrison. Twins by 1 in the 8th inning, and the 0-1 swing and a miss off speed. And it's 0-2. Much has been made about Breslow's new arm slot dropping down a little bit. Fastball in the upper 80s, a breaking ball there, upper 70s. And he is certainly in the mix to be a left-handed option in the Twins bullpen to start the year. 0-2 on Harrison. And here's the pitch inside and high, a fastball, ball 1. That fastball at 90. The spots are there for the taking in the Twins bullpen. Both righties and lefties. Now the 1-2 popped up. Good pitch in on the hands into right. J.B. Shuck in, now going back. He'll catch it, and English will hold at second base. So 2 down. And this will be former first-round pick Levi Michael. No longer switch hitting. Just hitting from his right side. It's a lefty-righty matchup on Levi Michael. Well, Twins spring training baseball is always live with MLB.com at bat, the mobile app. Stay connected all spring with radio broadcasts, stats, video highlights, news, and more. Download MLB at bat today. It's your #1 app for live baseball. Michael bounces foul behind the plate. MLB.com at bat app. Stay connected all spring long. '30th overall pick back in 2011. Levi Michael in the 8th inning, and the 0-1 off speed outside. Last year, Levi was at Double-A. 96 ball games. On base percentage was under 300. But his 2015 season was solid. OBP around 370, again with Double-A, in 63 games. 1 ball, 1 strike on Michael. And the pitch, ground ball to third. That one is going to be gloved nicely by the third baseman. Throws out the runner. Levi Michael, well played at third base, nearly ate him up. That was a shot to third, but the Twins make the play. And with that, the inning is over. Twins with some good defense on the infield despite the error by Granite. Team USA doesn't score, leaving 1. Through 7.5.
Success requires
New pitcher for Team USA as the Twins bat. Bottom half of the 8th inning is Aaron Sluggers, the tallest man in the Twins system. 6'10" and change. Twins have a minor leaguer named Johan Quezada, who is just shy of matching Sluggers in regards to height. Matt Haig leads off for the Twins as he bounces foul. Behind the plate, Twins 3, Team USA 2. The scoring tonight, Team USA scored 2 in the first inning off Trevor May, 3 straight hits. Single from Ian Kinsler, a single from Adam Jones, Nolan Arenado, a 2-run double. And it was 2-0 Team USA after 1. Twins came back with 2 in the second, both runs charged to Andrew Miller. Jason Castro RBI single. Jorge Polanco infield run scoring hit, scoring Kepler and Park to make it 2-2. The decisive run right now came in the 6th. A Byung-Ho Park sac fly that scored. Nick Gordon, broken back ground ball to short. This is fielded by Bregman. He throws out Haig for out number 1. Going back to the last half inning, Ade Adrianza is now playing third base for the Twins, no longer Sano. And Adrianza made a good play, and if that ball gets by Adrianza into left field, Tanner English likely scores. This game is tied, but Adrianza made a good play to end the inning. Speaking of Nick Gordon, he will bat for the second time. He doubled and scored in the 6th. And the pitch from Sluggers. This is down low, ball 1. Sluggers 25 starts at Double-A last year. Former Indiana Hoosier. As Gordon floats one foul out of play left side. Fastball lower 90, slider and change are secondary pitches, and because of his height, does draw the comparison with Chris Young, the Kansas City Royals, and the 1-1 is high.
Didn't play on the basketball team, huh?
No, we had Aaron Odd, and he sarcastically told us, he's like, you know, I've never gotten that question before. And the 2-1 pitch is high, ball 3, but baseball is his passion.
Yeah, I'm sure he played in some summer leagues or something, a pickup game. He'd be one of the first guys I'd draft.
24 years old. Makes his home at Scottsdale. Strike 2 called on Gordon. Fastball at 93. Sluggers a non-roster invite. 10-7 last year. 3.41 ERA. And the payoff pitch fouled back. You like Gordon's swing?
You know, I do. I like how he's short, compact, and quick through the zone. And he just looks comfortable in the batter's box. Not too many pitches that I've seen him so far. Small sample they chase.
As he takes low, ball 4. So Gordon's on again.
Good eye right there. That's not an easy pitch to lay off. But now a threat to steal.
Stole 19 bases last year here in Fort Myers. And here is Eddie Adrianza, claimed off waivers in early February. He's on the 40-man roster, competing for a utility spot. Sluggers steps off and checks on Gordon.
You know, usually pitchers that are this tall like that, their delivery to the plate a little bit slow.
Goldschmidt holding Gordon on. Nick stays as Sluggers misses down low, ball 1. Adrianza, Venezuelan, 27-year-old switch hitter. Lots of 4 seasons with the Giants at the big league level. And the 1-0 pitch popped up. Souvenir back behind the plate. Trevor May started tonight. 3 2/3, 2 runs, 4 hits, walked 2, struck out 2. Ryan Vogelsong a scoreless inning. Matt Belisle the same. Ryan Presley the same. Manny Rosario got an out in the 4th inning. Check on Gordon, back safely at first. From the stretch, here comes Sluggers and the 1-1. Ground ball off the mound near short, fielded by Bregman. Steps on second for one, throws to first, double play. Inning over through 8 in Fort Myers. And the Twins lead by 1. Twins 3, Team USA 2. You're listening to Twins Baseball. Copyrighted broadcast is presented by authority of the Minnesota Twins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Minnesota Twins. 9th inning, Twins 3, Team USA 2. Craig Breslow trying to finish off Team USA in the 9th inning. Jonathan Lucroy, though, begins the night with a base hit to left. And Paulson playing very deep in left field, cuts that ball off before the track, but Lucroy will be a free agent at season's end. Leads off the 9th with a single. He's going to be lifted from the game for a pinch runner. And with that, Team USA puts the tying run on, and the pinch runner is going to be Ryan Walker. Twins minor leaguer running for Lucroy at first base. Here is Lamont Wade. And a good bat. This is a name to follow throughout the year. Twins are high on this guy. Lefty against lefty. Here comes Breslow, first to check on Walker, who's back in safely. Now, the best of luck to Team USA. We'll be watching. And the 1-0 pitch is a letter-high strike. I loved what Chris Archer had to say yesterday at a session with reporters down the street. And Archer's going to start for Team USA on Friday night. And people may talk about the players that are not here, those that elected not to play for Team USA. Forget that. We like our team. That's what Archer was saying. And the 1-1 bounce weakly to short. Here comes Santana. Only plays to first, and his throw is off target. Throws it away into foul territory. And with that, Team USA has runners at second and third. Walker to third base. Wade to second on the throwing error by Santana.
Yeah, kind of a do-or-die play right there by Santana, but he had plenty of time and threw that ball up the line down the right field line, so a little bit of trouble right now.
Twins will have the infield back, and this is Daniel Murphy.
I think Archer, look at the team that they got. When I did that lineup, it was pretty impressive. And yes, I'm sure that there's some of the other guys out there, but yeah, he's got a good team.
Chris Archer, he's just a good kid, and
he's a good ambassador for the game.
Everything about how he plays, to how he speaks, to what he speaks about. He just gets it. And the 1-0 pitch is down low, 2 balls and no strikes, and he has a phenomenal relationship with Twins pitching coach Neil Allen. Those two are incredibly close, will be incredibly close forever. And you bring up Chris Archer to Neil Allen, it gets emotional because those two really are fond of one another. That's a great relationship. And the 2-0 pitch is fouled back. So now 2-1. Twins lead by 1, but Team USA threatening big time here. Walker at third, Wade at second. Christian Yelich is on deck. And the pitch, line foul. Look out down the third base side. Walker at a duck. Under the way of that screaming, slicing liner. So 2-2.
Thank you.
The count on Daniel Murphy of the Washington Nationals. Breslow needs a strikeout here. And the 2-2, a weak ground ball back to the mound. That'll do. He'll spin, throw to first base for the out. Runners hold. Stayed soft, Danny, on Murphy. 2-2 count.
Yeah,
and the runners have to hold.
He just tried to put the ball in play right there with 2 strikes and just took enough off of it right there. And a nice play by Breslow. Field his position, and he had the presence of mind to kind of turn, check the runner back to third, and then get the easy out.
So another lefty on left matchup here. Christian Yelich of the Miami Marlins won a Gold Glove back in 2014. Silver Slugger in 16. Was the first Marlins outfielder to ever win a Gold Glove. Yelich left field. Infield staying back, 1 out, and the pitch, line foul. Fastball, upper 80s. Breslow's been consistent with that. Last year, Yelich posted career highs in doubles, home runs, RBIs, on base percentage, slugging. Sporting dark batting gloves. And the 0-1, foul back. 0-2. So back-to-back fastballs, and now does he go off speed here?
I don't think he's going to go the off speed to where it's maybe near the strike zone. He may go with something a little bit harder to get him to chase.
Bregman on deck. Walker at third, Wade at second base. Twins 3, Team USA 2 in the 9th inning with 1 out. From the stretch, and the 0-2. Ooh, just missed outside. It was a fastball. Exactly where Breslow wanted that pitch, but did not get the call, just off the outer edge. Ball 1. John Ryan Murphy doing the catching, sending Breslow signs. He's ready. And the 1-2 is popped up. Shallow left into foul territory. The shortstop will not make the play. Danny Santana had a room on the warning track near the sidewall, and he was going out. Paulson coming in from left, and neither made the play.
It's an easier play for Paulson coming in from the outfield. His momentum's going to take him toward the plate, whereas Danny Santana kind of feeling the presence of Paulson there, and he was kind of going away from home plate. So if he catches that ball, going to be a tough play for him to turn around and make the play at home. Twins might have caught a break there.
So it stays 1-2 on Yelich here in the 9th inning, and the pitch got him swinging. So Breslow went off speed, strikes out Yelich, 2 outs. And now it's Alex Bregman, the shortstop. of the Houston Astros. Not a shortstop with Houston, kind of a guy that'll bounce around, but the Astros, Bregman's big league club. Bregman playing on his 5th USA baseball team. And with 2 outs, steps in from the right side. Strike call, the fastball, 0-1. Bregman, the Astros minor league player of the year last year. 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. Twins 3, Team USA 2. Now the 0-1, inside and low, ball 1. Last year, Bregman made his big league debut. 49 appearances for the young Houston infielder. And the 1-1, foul back. A ball and 2 strikes. And this would be a nice lift here for Breslow, trying to win a job. One ball, 2 strikes, 2 on, 2 out, 9th inning. And the pitch, it fouled. Challenge him with a fastball off the very top of the net behind the plate. For Team USA, the World Baseball Classic officially begins on Friday at Marlins Park in Miami. They will take on Colombia. Chris Archer will start for Team USA on Friday night. You can watch that game on the MLB Network. And again, the 1-2, low on a check swing. Up speed from Breslow, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Saturday, Team USA plays the Dominican Republic. Sunday, Team USA against the Canadian team. Justin Morneau on that team again.
I saw that. He played against Toronto, and then today played against the Yankees. Still looking for a hookup with a club. Yeah. He still wants to play.
The 2-2, ground ball to 3rd. Adrian's in field, sets, throws, ball game over. So Breslow worked out of it. A hit, an error. Team USA at 2nd and 3rd with nobody out, and they cannot score as Breslow preserves the save, and the Twins win the game, knocking off Team USA by a score of 3-2. We'll come back with more from Fort Myers next on your home for Twins baseball.